And when people tell me, your vacation lasts for 2 weeks, but a car lasts for 10 years. But they forget to realize that a vacation's memories will last you forever, but you get used to the car within 1 month.
On this episode of Money Talks, I have my man, Finance with Sharan. It's such a pleasure to have you, Sharan, on this conversation.
Likewise, Ankur, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm talking to you for the first time, and I can't wait to, have this great conversation with you and talk everything about money.
Fantastic, man. Before we get into the conversation, I have an honest question to ask you. How often do you look at the mirror and call yourself Finance with Sharan as against Sharan?
No, actually, I mean, I would say, Finance with Sharan is like a separate brand right now. I wouldn't say that I am Finance with Sharan. It's like Shah Rukh Khan says, right? Shah Rukh Khan is the brand that he has created, and he is also an employee of that brand. And it actually feels like that, right? Because people associate Finance with Sharan with me even when they meet me in public. But I'm not like that, all the time, right? I also have, I'm also a calm person most of the time. So I would say, it has become more of a brand right now, and I'm an employee of that brand. So I don't look at the mirror and say, "You're Finance with Sharan." No, I don't say that.
I love that. So my first question to all my guests, Sharan, is how was it growing up with money or without money, and how did that shape up your early relationship with money in life?
Absolutely. So growing up, I would say I was from a typical middle class family, maybe slightly upper middle class. My parents were well off, but I would say they were not. I don't get any pocket money, right? They did not spoil me with money. They really made me understand the value of money. My dad had a typical rags to riches story. So they value every single rupee that they earn and cross question every single rupee that they spend. So every time I'm asking for money, they actually make me think about whether I really, really need it. So I had a budget, right? So back in 2003, 2004, whenever my dad used to take me to the toy store, my dad used to say, you can't buy anything more than 100 rupees. And so that meant 100 rupees was my upper threshold, right? I used to, anything beyond 100 rupees, I used to be like, no, I can't buy that. So that was like my upper threshold. But once Beyblade launched, right? The Beyblade was my favorite, one of my most favorite cartoons growing up. And when the actual device was launched in India, right, I just wanted it so bad. And unfortunately, it cost about 299 rupees, 3 times above the budget. And I had to fight like hell with my parents to get it. And I finally did get it, right? But that kind of, made me realize how money is so important. And as a young kid, it made me think that, money is everything in this world. So when I was a kid and when somebody used to ask me, what do you want to become when you grow up? I used to say, I want to be the richest man in the world. So that I had a response like that. And then when I asked my mom, why do people study? And she told me, people study to become rich, make a lot of money, and be a big person. So once I heard that, I mean, I wasn't good at studies until then. This was somewhere like third or fourth standard, and I was like, beating up kids in school, using bad words. So I was like this typical bad boy in school. But once I heard that from my mother, I went, full ignition on, and I started topping my classes. And all the way until 10th grade, I was, a typical nerd. So money, I think, has been a very big motivator for me since childhood to be the best version of myself.
That's fascinating, man. I love how that molded you. Wow, that's incredible. Did you have a sense of how much money is close to being the richest? Like, did you have a ballpark of I want to earn this much of money, or was it just like this richest person or be immensely rich?
I mean, of course. I mean, once I learned how to use a computer and Google, I would type, right, the richest man in the world, and then obviously Bill Gates would pop up, right? And then back then, right, he was the richest man for the longest period of time, and then his net worth also pops up, right? Then you get accustomed to what is Forbes, then the Forbes list of billionaires. That's how I got to know about all of it, right? Because of my inclination or love towards money. So then I understood that his net worth back then was about, I think $40-50 billion. So I thought, yeah, I'll just have to cross $40-50 billion to be the richest man. Mm-hmm. And I thought, the harder I study, the more marks I get, the better job I get, the more money I'll make. So that is the mindset as an innocent school kid.
When did this illusion break?
That was a tough time. So, until 10th, I had all this ego, right? Because I was topping the classes. I thought I was the best I was going to this ICSE board. Teachers loved me. So I thought, I was at the top of the world and nobody can beat me. And then what happens is, then my parents put me to a cram school called Expert College, which is in Mangalore, which is like very popular. It is so popular that the toppers from all over the state, Karnataka state, they come to this particular college to study from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So I was in a class. It was called the first batch. So there are 15 batches. I was in the first batch. And this first batch had the toppers from schools all over the state. So the average percentage, I would say, was something like 94 percentage in 10th standard. And I had 93 percentage, right? So it was a very, very competitive classroom. Right? Obviously, then my bubble bursted. I'm like, there are so many more smarter people than me. I'm not even able to come in the top 5 of the class, let alone come first. So that's when my bubble bursted, and I realized, I'm not that best. I'm not that special. So that's a really tough phase, because when once your ego, it comes down, right? I mean, it's a good thing that it happened, but it was a difficult phase to accept that there are so many more people who are better than you, and the world is a tough place. And no matter, sometimes even if you put your best and your entire hard work into it, you might still not come first, and that is very difficult to accept as a young boy. So I think that's when I gave up the dream of becoming the richest man in the world.
No, man, I can imagine that must have been tough. I went back to my first week at Indian School of Business, where I did my MBA, and oh my God, you're suddenly surrounded by IIT gold medalists and defense personnel and doctors and lawyers of just incredible achievements, and you're like, no, who am I? Where am I? What am I going to do? It's totally like that, man. And what was now you of course then eventually went to an engineering college. Was that always part of the plan, or was it just something that the geeky, nerdy Sharan would do?
So that's the thing, right? So once that the bubble bursted, and then I sort of lost all my drive and motivation when I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So then I got into that phase of going with the flow, because I did not know what I wanted to do, nor did I do the research of what I wanted to do. I just had to follow the herd. And my parents, I mean, I'm not saying that my what I did engineering was bad. My parents had my good intentions at heart, right? Because as a parent, you want your kid to get into something which is safe and which will ensure that you have a good life. And that happens to be engineering and medicine in India. Within engineering, I really wanted to do computer science. But unfortunately, because my sister already had done computer science, my parents were like, you need to do something else. We need to diversify our investments. So they told me to do mechanical engineering. And they were like, it's evergreen and all of that. And I bought into the story. So I got in. I didn't do any research about what is the average CTC and all of that. But once you get into the first year and you talk to the other kids, then you realize, oh crap, what did I do? So that happened. But I would say, hindsight, I would say I wouldn't change anything, because I joined this club in college, an academic club called Ashwa Racing, wherein we actually built, Formula One concept race cars, and we raced around, with multiple international teams across the world. So it was a great experience for me. And that experience in turn actually made me realize that I want to be in business and finance, because as a part of that club, I was initially responsible for the engine. But then eventually I got into the finance bit of the organization, and I eventually became the CFO of that club. So I was building, business presentations, cost model and optimization and all of that. So I really like doing that. And that sort of instigated me to start researching about management consulting. I mean, I didn't really know what management consulting is, but in my process of doing the research, because I knew now what I wanted to do, so while I was researching about different career options, I landed upon management consulting. So that is how I eventually got in. So if I had taken computer science, maybe I would have just been maybe at Google, maybe earning a lot of money. But now looking at hindsight, I would say, I really enjoyed management consulting. So I think everything worked out well. I wouldn't change anything.
Fantastic, man. No, I love that story. I absolutely love it. And so after college, then you joined consulting. You were at KPMG. You then were at PwC as well. But did you know that you enjoy finance, money, talking about personal finance so much that you would want to create content or help others? Like, where did that spark come from?
My parents or my grandparents during my birthday, they used to give me money, right? That is a common practice in India. So what I used to do was I was not spending it, because I wanted to be the richest man in the world. If I'm spending it, how will I be the richest man in the world? So I was collecting it, right? I loved collecting it and looking at the money. So by the time I turned 20, 21, I was putting it in a money belt, the one of those things you wear when you go abroad. So I was putting it in a money belt. And by the time I turned 2021, it had accumulated to around 50, 60,000 rupees, right, as a third year college student. Now, there are two options: either buy an expensive electronic item, which most people would have done as a normal kid, buy an iPhone. But I didn't, right? I wanted to make it grow. Now, because I wanted to make it grow, I was forced to research about it. And that is when I was introduced to the whole world of personal finance, about mutual funds, how to do tax planning and all of that. I enjoyed the entire process. And then I realized that, it's not an option anymore because it is so important to learn of these things. But now the content available right now, it's so boring and dull that 99% of the people are not even going to watch it. But it's such an essential life skill. Schools are not teaching it, and people are not even going to learn about it even after they start working. So that sort of made me realize there is a huge gap in learning. So that is why I started a YouTube page. That's when I started creating content during the pandemic. So that's how I started. I started putting on YouTube a few videos. I put around 3-4 videos, long form content on YouTube. And then I was like, my sister, who is very, very social media savvy, she said, okay, Sharan, you need to be on Instagram. That is where all the action is happening right now. TikTok is gone. Reels is back. I'm like, what the hell is a reel? And then she's like, it's like a TikTok. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, because TikTok had a very bad reputation in India, right? People dancing and all that. I'm like, that's not me. I'm not going to do that. This is finance. I'm like, again, the ego thing came back. Finance is, it's respectable thing, right? I can't dance and put stuff like that. And she's like, you do your own thing, try your own stuff, see how it works out. Then I remember, going to the terrace, holding my phone like this, and then shot my first 30-second video. It took me half an hour. Talking to the camera right now is so easy. But back then, I think it's a very, very difficult job for people who've never spoken to a camera. I actually YouTube, right, how to talk to a camera. So I did that, did a video like that. And then, bada bing, bada boom, Instagram favored me. And then 3-4 videos later, it boomed. So that's how it started.
Fantastic, man. I love that. I love that story. What was your parents' reaction to all of this?
Yeah, my parents, they just asked, right? They were not like discouraging me. They never said, you can't do this, focus on this. What are you doing? You're wasting your time. They don't say that. My parents are good that way. They ask, right? They're willing to learn. They're like, so why are you doing this, right? So what is the benefit of doing this? So they asked, right? So I simply said, it will help me with my MBA application. So they were like, sold. Oh, wow, okay, this will help me with MBA application.
Genius.
But, right. And then I remember, okay, the first time I made money from my content creation was actually for a writer. She's a freelancer who works with financial companies like banks to write articles for them on their website. So she did not have a finance background. So she reached out to me on Instagram saying, can you help me review these articles? And there were 25 articles. And I had like 10,000 followers, around 5,000, 6,000 followers back then. And she gave me those 25 articles. I read all of them. And she paid me like 4,000 rupees for them. And that 4,000 rupees was the happiest. That gave me the most joy, that 4,000 rupees, because that is the first money that I earned through finance with Sharan. And I remember going down, running to my parents saying, see, I earned money. I got 4,000 rupees. And my parents still remember that, right? They're like, Sharan, now you're making money. But I still remember you telling me that first 4,000 rupees you made, I've never seen you more happy than that. So so then after that, they were sold. Obviously, once the money comes in, the Indian parents are like, do whatever you want. Right? Then they don't care. Then if you're a musician or a cricket football player, whatever it is, if you're making money, they don't care, right? That's the thing, right? Parents really don't care what you do, as long as you're making money out of it, because they don't want you to struggle in future. Yeah. So that's about it.
Wonderful, man. Did you do anything? Indulge in anything outside of your investing with the early money coming in, or did all of it go back to either the business or investing?
I would say now that dream to be the richest man in the world is coming back again. So I'm not going to spend it. I'm going to keep investing it. So that's what I do. I save 99% of my money probably. Right. I still, like I said, I still lead the same lifestyle. Before, when I was in consulting, I was spending, I was making 30,000 rupees. I was spending 20,000 rupees per month. Now even now I spend like, maybe 40,000 rupees a month, right? Maybe just doubled my expenses, because now obviously I need to, it's a business now. I need to pay salaries. Yeah. I'm not including salaries, but I have a lot of business related expenses like flights and traveling and all of that. So expenses are increased. But it's not like I've gone, the first time I got a lot of money, it's not like I go to a showroom and buy the most expensive car. No, I'm not like that. And I would never do that as well.
That's a financially wise statement to make. I love that. Sitting today, now that you have gone through so much, you're of course a lot more aware. You have a better understanding of how money works, how you work, and so on. Are you chasing a certain goal in a certain timeline? Like, is there a money number that you are after? Is it 200 billion that'll make you the richest?
No, I did this calculation for calculating what is my FIRE number. Right, FIRE is financial independence, retire early. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So I did that calculation for myself, and it came up to about I think it was 6 crores, and I made a tweet on that as well. Right, I'm saying, and the lifestyle that you can lead with 6 crore, and for most people it was surprising. The lifestyle that you can lead with 6 crore is that you can comfortably spend like 20 to 30 lakhs a year, which I think is more than enough money for a person like me, because I am a person who likes to spend on experiences. So I would bulk of that 20 to 30 lakhs would go on like say 2 to 3 international vacations because I love spending on that. And then the remainder of the time is just being in India and doing my thing. So for that kind of lifestyle, 20 to 30 lakhs is what I calculated. Now, to sustain that kind of lifestyle, and if you want to quit working, not saying I will quit working after reaching a milestone like that, but if I have that option to quit, so that is the financial independence number. So 6 crore is the number with which you can live that kind of lifestyle. So I would say that. So yeah, that's the number.
That's great, man. No, it's awesome that you have a number in mind, because I'm often shocked at how many people don't even know what is it that they're chasing, and they're consistently just chasing. And that's the worst thing, because even when you hit that number, you will still continue chasing because you didn't know that you've hit it. So
I love that. When I asked that question on my Twitter, most people said, very few people said a number less than 10 crores. But yeah, most people don't realize when to stop. So that's the thing.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Tell me about your day. What does your usual day look like? How do you think about your content, your business, your life in general?
So right now I'm focusing on a couple of side projects. I'm focusing on a course. I'm focusing on writing a book. So I do that immediately as the first in action items of my day, because that's when I'm most fresh, and this requires a lot of creativity. And then 2 to 6 p.m. is prime time for me, because I like to shoot in sunlight. This is a Godox right now, but I don't really like Godox because when you use green screen, it gets a little bit hazy at the edges. So I don't really like Godox. I love sunlight. Even today, it's just one iPhone stand. I just put that iPhone in front of my window. That's it. That's how videos are done for me. I don't use DSLR. Is just for having video calls and podcasts, but otherwise it's just an iPhone and a mobile stand. It's maybe I don't know, it's 70 to 80,000 rupees investment, and 99% of that is going into the iPhone. So that's how I do. So 2 to 5, I keep it fully free. I shoot videos. Sometimes it goes till 6 o'clock, depending on whether it rains. And then I have a call with my scripting team. So right now, I have I'm focusing on making my scripts better. Right. So scripting for me is very, very important, because people view me as someone who is infusing comedy with finance. So that is my unique persona that I've created. So right now I make all my jokes, but eventually I want to build a team around it. So now I go to stand-up comedy shows to see who are like, these are like not the very famous stand-up comedians, right? These are like open mics, right? There's like, people who've been doing it for like 2 to 3 years. So I just go there, like, every Bangalore is a fantastic place for that, Friday to Sunday, there's like open mics all over Indiranagar. That's where I live. Right? I go there. There are 10 stand-up comedians who come. I watch them, and then if I really like some of them, I just go talk to them and see, like, are you looking to, would you like to work with me, because I do this, and then most of them are really, really interested to do that. So I do that. So currently I'm onboarding some stand-up comedians to work with me on the scripting process. So that's from 5 to 6 or 6 to 7. And then 7 to 8, I have a meeting. Every day I have a stand-down meeting with my research team. So about 4 to 5 people who work on research. So every day we, discuss what are the new topics that they have found out. Then we build Excel models together to validate those things. We cross-verify a lot of things. So earlier when I began content research, I was like just looking at an article by Economic Times and make a video on it, right? And that burned me once, because once what happened was a reputed publication, I won't name it, they made a mistake in what they said, right? Ever since then, my research has gone up tenfold. Now I just not look at one article, I'll cross-verify across 3 to 4 articles. If I'm still not convinced, then maybe I will do that Excel model by myself to see if the numbers are matching. And if I'm still not convinced, then I will go to the original source of the information, which could be the income tax website or whatever. And then if I'm still not confused, then I will actually talk to people in the industry, maybe an insurance expert or a CFA or a CA, to actually validate that. So it's a huge process now. right? Sometimes what we do is we call the insurance agents, right? Insurance agents call us. We set up calls with policy with our insurance agents to verify some information.
That's a that's a super productive day, man. I'm curious. What's the most undesirable part of your day? Something that you could perhaps do without. Do you still have to do it?
Uh, Not really, right? Because right now, because I get to design my day, right? See, I don't really have to do all of these things, right? Um, I could just be complacent and do what I'm continuously doing. That is what most people think, right? They think that okay, once you have enough money, you can do that. You can just travel the world, not do anything at all, just watch Netflix all day. But I think once you actually reach there, you will realize that that is not what you want to do. You will not be able to do that for more than a month, right? I actually was doing that for like a month, and I realized this: I cannot live like this. I think fundamentally, all of us at the end of the day want to feel like we are adding value. We do not just want to sit idle, right? No matter what work you're doing, we want to feel like we are adding value to the community, and that is what gives us most joy. And that is what I've discovered in this year.
That is a wonderful discovery to make, frankly, and at your age to be so self-aware and to recognize how this spiral of laziness and no, we will just chill in life because we've got everything we wanted is frankly not fulfilling, and you can do it 1 week, 1 month, perhaps even 1 year, and after that you'll just feel like shit, what am I doing with my life? Yeah, wonderful, man. What do you think, Sharan, will be your most expensive purchase in life? What would you like it to be?
Currently, my most expensive purchase is my iPhone. That is about, I think, 70,000. What I would like it to be is probably very expensive vacation. Like I really want to go to Iceland. I've not been able to go there, and people have told me it's really expensive. Like people actually, it's like almost impossible to go to a restaurant in a country like Iceland because it's just that expensive. People just go to the grocery, get like Maggie or whatever equivalent of Maggie is there over there, and cook it in their car and eat. So yeah, I mean, I would say a very expensive vacation like Iceland or something in the one of the Nordic countries, and that will probably cost me 3 to 4 lakhs. But I wouldn't think twice because I love to travel. And when people tell me, your vacation lasts for 2 weeks, but a car lasts for 10 years. But they forget to realize that a vacation's memories will last you forever, but you get used to the car within 1 month, right? So that's the difference.
Exactly. No, I so love that. Is there anything about your life that you hope never becomes public when it comes to your personal finance, know-it-all, very wise persona?
It's something that will never become public.
So that you hope never becomes public, like something that you do. It's like a stupid thing that you do. You're not very proud of it, and you really hope no one gets to know that Sharan does this because they're like, what?
I would say, the mustaches that I wear for my skits, it's actually a one-time use, but I actually keep it because I want to use it again. I'm reusing my mustaches, but I just don't want to throw it away.
Oh, that is incredible. I love that. I wasn't expecting that at all. That is so awesome, man. That is so cool.
And I've already gone through like 10 orders of mustaches through Amazon.
The seller will be like, what is happening? Like, why is this pin code suddenly jumping on its purchase volume of mustaches that I've never seen before?
Like every month, four to five strips of mustaches.
That is crazy. That is awesome. That is awesome. And no, before we started this conversation, we were talking about this. This wasn't what's natural to you. You had to become good at this. Was it hard? I'm sure it was hard, but tell us about that journey.
Yeah, most people think that maybe he was born with these skills, naturally talented. He was already in maybe drama school or acting club in college. But I was not like that, and the proof is out there because if you watch my older videos, you will see that that was a really boring video. The first 1 month or 2 months, it was just two poker face Sharans talking to each other with no expression, no jokes, nothing, right? So you can really make out that that person is not someone who was from an acting background. For example, even me, I used to think that, I'm not, dancing is not in my blood, right? Whenever I go to a club or something, I make a fool out of myself. I just can't dance. So I kind of accepted that, I just cannot dance. God did not build me that way. I just cannot move my bodies or free myself like that. So I thought I could never be a dancer. During the pandemic, I discovered this dance form called what is it called? Damn, I forgot it. What is it called? It's a very, it's the moonwalk kind of a dance. They do that,
Got it.
uh,
Breakdance?
that is not
No.
break dance. It's just with their legs. They just move their legs and dance. It's just the leg movements, right? Maybe someone in the comment
Interesting.
section will say it,
Yeah.
right? So I really like doing that because it looked pretty cool. So then what did I do? I bought this kind of dancing requires a particular kind of shoes because otherwise you will the skin under your soles will come out. So I was doing that in my house, and it took me about a month to master that just one move. But continuously, every day I was practicing for like, at least 10, 15 minutes. That's it. I have to play that song whenever I was getting, overwhelmed with the, content creation or consulting. So that time I was doing both content creation and consulting at the same time. So when I was getting overwhelmed, wanted to take a break, I would just put on that music and dance till I sweat. Right? And it was like a workout as well. So I did that consistently for 10, 15 minutes for 1 month. And then, I became so good at it that my sister is a naturally gifted dancer. And then when I showed it to her, she was awestruck. Yeah. And then she learned it within 2 days. Right? But in the beginning, I was better than her. So that made me realize that there's nothing in this world that you cannot do. But it's yourself. It's you telling yourself that you're not designed for it. Maybe the baseline for you is lower than some other people, but you can still make up for that baseline. But because most people think that their baseline is already below other people's baseline, they kind of accept that I can never do that, right? But if you just overcome that baseline, then you will get that confidence back to be better and better, and you'll be better than others as well, who began with naturally gifted skills of being better than you. So that's what I would say.
That's incredible advice, man. I'm so glad that you shared that. That's really good. It's been fascinating talking to you, Sharan. Before we let you go, have 3 questions as a rapid fire. The first thing that comes to your mind, there is no hamper at the end of it, but we'll play it cool. Okay. Number 1, pick between money and power.
Money.
Okay. That I thought that would be, but care to explain?
Right. How do you define power in this world? I'm looking at power in a negative sense of way, money. I chose money because with money you can do good things. You can help others. You can motivate others, and you can enable. You can invest in businesses which grow. So that is more appealing to me. And then also you can use money on yourself to be a better version of yourself, right? Rather than making other people or controlling other people. So that's why I chose money.
Brilliant. Love that. Pick between speed and perfection.
Perfection. Always perfection.
I get a very strong sense. Like we're speaking for the first time, but no, there's this very strong spark in you that just smells perfection, and it shows. I'm sure the 60-second and lesser.
I'll tell you, the 60-second reel when I'm shooting it, it began with me taking 5 minutes to shoot a video back a year back. Today it takes me a year to shoot because every dialogue I said at least 20, 25 times. Because I am not satisfied with how the voice modulation has come, whether the joke has come out at the right moment, whether there was some background noise of a kid playing or a nighthawker honking something. So all of those things, or a bird chirping, right? I hate birds now because as a content creator, I don't have a proper studio setup now. Birds are my biggest enemy and enemy number 1, right? So I take around 20 to 25 takes. So, it takes as long as it takes, right? So I am always after perfection, never speed.
Brilliant, man. Last question. What do you think is the worst thing about you?
Worst thing about me is...
and you can't say perfection.
I know. I would say, I don't take the time to be content with what I've achieved. So, for example, let's say I've worked towards something and I got it, and I've exceeded the expectations and all of that. I never take the time to enjoy it and kind of just chill for a moment. I'm always like, okay, what's next, right? So I think that is bad. And whenever you are not performing well, which is what happens in the content creation world, you are not always going up. There's ups and downs, and during the downs, you feel really bad when you have that sort of a mindset. So what I do now is I just go on a evening walk. When I was in Mangalore, I just go to the evening walk. I go to the church, right? I sit. I'm not Catholic, but I still like going to the church, right? Because it's like quiet and it's like huge halls, and then I just sit over there, and then I sort of reminiscing my entire journey from an engineering kid to today, and then I feel very good. I think I don't do that a lot. I do that maybe once or maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and especially when I'm feeling low. But I think I should do that a lot more. And that I would say that is the worst thing about me, and that's not good also for my mental health. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I concur, man. I concur. You have come so far from where you started to where you are right now. It'll be a pity if you don't acknowledge your own journey in a way that helps you. So I wish that you continue to, of course, look for the next thing as much as possible, but also take those moments to reflect upon how far you've come along, because it's been an incredible journey. Thank you so much, Sharan. Thanks a lot, man. This was a pleasure. Continue doing all the great work that you're doing. I'm a big fan, and I think a lot of people are benefiting from how you're approaching this. So thanks a lot for sharing time.
Thank you so much, Ankur, for having me. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you and sharing my 2 cents and learnings with your audience. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. All the best.
YouTube Shorts के लिए एक डेडिकेटेड चैनल लॉन्च किया गया है जिसपे आप सिर्फ वो 60 सेकंड के शॉर्ट्स देख सकते हैं. नो लॉन्ग फॉर्मेट कंटेंट टू कंफ्यूज यू, एंड होपफुली दो 60 seconds will help you just as much as these long format videos do. सब्सक्राइब करिए, पिन कमेंट और डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिंक है टू द वारिकू शॉर्ट्स चैनल.